Have I told you about the love shield?
I don't think you have.
Okay, so the love shield, we
Yeah.
all have the ability, and Reiki is it's Reiki,
Mhm.
and they actually can measure this coming out of your body. So
Right.
the love shield is the love that you are able to radiate. And so some people might have a crown, some people might strap on a vest when they think about it, but mine's like a full-on Jedi knight suit and it goes whoop in my head. And everyone should practice their love shield at Walmart. Like that's the best spot to recognize where you can actually utilize it because that's a difficult situation.
In Walmart.
Right. No one wants to go into Walmart. The lighting in there is atrocious. The people are all zombies. I mean, it can be
There's
bad.
a lot of different dense energies there.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So you sit in your car and you're like, oh God, Walmart.
Hmm.
Put on your love shield. Boom. You walk in, you radiate love. It doesn't matter if you're in your pajamas like everybody else. You are beautiful inside your love shield. You're radiating love. A woman needs help reaching the thing on the shelf. You help her because you're being present. That's what it is. You're bringing presents to Walmart, which is a rare thing there. There's not a lot of presents at Walmart. Uh, Presents actually living in the now, not presents. So you walk around and you are kind to people. You recognize someone who's looking nice that day and you comment on their nice shirt or just be a kind individual. You're not ramming your cart around trying to get out of there as fast as you can. You're living in the present moment.
You're actually shopping.
You're shopping, you're getting the necessities, you're suffering the environment, but not so bad with your love shield on because you are radiating love out to all those who come into contact with you. And we don't realize the ripple effect of our kindness on the people that we are around. You can have a conversation with the cashier who maybe didn't talk to the first four people that were in front of you because no one even needs to speak to the cashier anymore. And everyone's so busy or on their phone. You know, I watch this as I'm in line being present, what's actually going on around me. And it's kind of a sad situation. So you speak to the cashier, you bring her hope and joy. You wish her the best for the next adventures in her life or their life or whatever, whoever it is that's helping you. And you thank them and you share gratitude in that moment for that little small interaction. You get back to your car and you take off your love shield and you recognize the ripple of goodness that you created. You know, you don't know that the fact that you weren't racing around and you missed the opportunity to smash into somebody else's cart, but instead you were kind and you waited and you gave them a smile so that their next interaction happens with a smile. So
Dominoes.
that their next interaction happens with a smile. Just by going into Walmart with your love shield on, you've created a positive ripple in your environment that hopefully is going to just spin things a little bit nicer for everyone else that was in the store. That's how I like to think of it. That's the
Yeah.
love shield.
Where did you first come in contact with this love shield?
I have no idea
Yeah.
because I used to think it when I was in the Orthodox Church.
Mm.
I would tell my kids, "Put on your love shield."
Mhm.
And they go, "Oh, mom's crazy," you know? But, it was just something I felt. I could feel that it was something that you could shift and change. That's just one more opportunity that you have to
Mhm.
create a mental construct of your own devices. Like or you can shift it and say, "No, I'm gonna do positive things today. I'm gonna be a positive force in this Walmart." You
Wow!
know?
I mean, that's amazing. The love shield.
Yeah, loves you.
I feel like that when I go into Walmart, not the love shield, but I'm gonna have to
Right.
use that now because I just really do not like going grocery shopping and or to I just never have.
No,
And I
who
get that
does?
yeah,
It's awful.
yeah, you can get into that even I tell this in my head, the story before it even happens. God, I feel like I'll usually send my wife, and now I'm like,
And
"Oh, sh
she's not wearing her love shield, and she
yeah."
doesn't know.
And now everybody that's gonna be listening to this, we're aware of the love shield. Is there a patent on this?
No,
No patent.
no, everybody can use it all the time. In fact, you should use it whenever you have a hard conversation. You're going into your mom's house for
Oh.
Christmas, Thanksgiving,
Mm.
whatever it is. Love shield up. And that's like a mental thing. Love shield up. Boom.
Yeah, boom.
You got to make the noise.
Boom. It's the bubble.
You can
Whoop.
you can do it quietly, but or okay, so I was coming out of a bar. I was looking for a retirement party and I didn't have the right address in my mind of where it was. It was actually across the street in another spot. So I was coming out of this bar thinking that I was looking for this retirement party. And this woman was outside the bar berating her grandchildren. This is the environment in which they were growing up in, and it was kind of sad, and it was these 2 young girls, and they were tired. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was trying to catch the very end of this retirement party because my entire day was just, like, running from one thing to the next thing, and it was on my way home, and I was like, "Well, maybe if they're still there, I'll try to catch them." And it's like 10 o'clock at night, and this grandma owns the bar that I was coming out of, and I don't know how I remember knowing that, but that's how somehow she's the owner of the bar, and she's watching her 2
Grandchildren.
grandchildren,
Mhm.
and they're maybe 8 and 6. Of course, they're out too late. It's 10 o'clock, and she's, like, giving them the what for. And I come out of the bar, and then I go down these 2 steps, and I'm halfway across the street before my brain says, do something, do something, do something, do something. And I'm like, no, just walk away, like the
Yeah.
fear part of me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm like, nope, love shield up, love shield up. And I turn back around and I go back to those 2 little girls and I say to them, I just wanted to tell you before I went across the street how beautiful you are. You guys, I just came out and your little faces lit up my heart. And I just wanted you to know how beautiful you two are. And they smiled. And grandma knew exactly what was going on, I think, in that moment. And I walked away. I didn't even speak to the grandma,
Mhm.
because she's living in her own divisive storyline.
Right.
And she's probably having to take care of these grandchildren because her daughter has abandoned them with her for whatever reason. I don't know. It's Friday night. Maybe mom's just out on a
Yeah.
Friday night.
Or mom could be working 3 jobs.
Or her mom could be the bartender. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like we're all dealing with our own story that we don't know behind the scene. But if
Mhm.
there is an opportunity that you can inject some kindness
Yeah,
without creating friction in that injection, that was that was what came to my mind in my love shield.
yeah.
Be present, wrap it in love. And I didn't know what was going to come out of my mouth when I turned around. I was still like, just walk away. But I didn't walk away. Like you can take on the hardest situations wrapped in your love shield
Right.
because you're coming at it with your heart space.
It's
You're
kinda
come
too it reminds me of, like a superhero, outfit.
100%.
I mean, you're essentially because, you're walking away. How many of us do that day to day where we're not courageous? Somebody else will do it for me or somebody else will notice that,
I just can't have that
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah, I don't wanna do that, it's I just man, I'm gonna steer away. And then Love Shield is like instantly, whoop,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
are now a superhero and you're coming at it with love. And oh my gosh, you're shifting the frequency instantaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the more often you practice it, the better you get at it. Like anything else, it's like a muscle you're stretching or
Yeah.
something because you will soon find that you can trust what comes out of your mouth
Mm.
when your love shield is on max.
Wow.
Like there is no fear within your love shield because you trust it. You trust that you're coming from your heart space and that you can accomplish this thing that seems so insurmountable, so difficult. And maybe, in that moment, especially with those little girls, it wasn't any of my business.
Mhm.
But how could I help in some manner that might just make a whole difference? Like, how often would those little girls think about me coming back and saying something to them? You know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we just don't know how we can affect the world in just one little phrase that we might say.
Yeah. Wow, beautiful story. Way to kick off that. I'm gonna go into introductions now.
Thank you.
Jeez. Woo, that was nice. All right, guys. Today, this beautiful story you just heard, Xene Abraham, good friend. We just met actually. Well, we met this summer at the Harmony Festival
Yep.
for the first time, and then going into a mutual friend of ours, Janelle, she's a sound healer. She was like, "I think you should get a hold of Zini. You 2 would hit it off, and I think you guys could do some things together." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Well, we'll get her on a podcast or whatever." Well, then I got the amazing opportunity to come out to where you live and really get to know each other. And let me tell you guys, this woman, just from that story, hearing that, we're going to start with that, introduction.
Yay.
She lives in the present moment. She is one of the most authentic, and I'm just looking in your eyes right now. You can see it in the smile you put out. Just one of the most authentic, loving persons I've met, and
Aw.
I feel like there's some things I'm still figuring out about you that I can't wait to figure out. But and maybe this story we'll get to know each other more. But going into everybody, this is Zini, and she's here to share her story and what she's doing currently on this beautiful earth. And from that, Zini, I'm going to let you go in and tell me about yourself and our listeners.
Aw, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for inviting me to be here, and this is exciting.
Yes, it
So,
is.
thank you.
Mhm.
So I guess I resist putting any kind of real label on myself, but I am a creative,
Yeah.
and I feel very drawn to create with people. So it's not just that I create and I'm the artist. That's why I consider it more as a creative because I can feel the people in the room. And
Mhm.
when I'm creating with people, there's an energy and a vibe there that is intoxicating to me.
Yeah.
And when you really get into it and the room is humming because the people are excited about what they're making and they're creating, I believe that it's our birthright. I believe that we are a a fragment of the creator. And so we want to create. We want to make things. We want to delight in what this human experience is capable of. And so I really see myself as a creator. I came into this new mindset through an awakening, I guess is what everyone's calling it.
These days.
Yeah, these days. Uh through art. And I could recognize that while I was painting, I could watch my hand paint. I could watch what was being created. And if I judged what the hand did, it would go bad. And if I just marveled at what the hand did, even if I thought in that moment, I'd be like, ooh, I'm not sure. But then I'd be like, okay, let's see where this goes. That it would like be the perfect stroke. It would fall into a perfect space. And so I felt as though if I could get out of my own way, that I could really watch a master paint. And it was about that time that I heard Eckhart Tolle talk about the now or Tolle. I'm not sure how
Yeah, I think
we take
Totally
it.
or Toll.
Tolle. Yeah.
Yeah. The Now Man. We
Yeah.
call him the Now
The
Man.
now.
Yeah.
So I feel as though that was all in perfect alignment because as I was watching my hand paint, I was recognizing there was something bigger within me. I was recognizing that if I only followed that little voice of intuition, which I recognized as the painter, life worked out amazingly. I could sense when I needed to turn a corner or, I had that within me. So I could feel the intuition. And if I honed it and really paid attention to it, it really was an impressive guiding force. And so at some point, I vowed to listen to that voice. I remember I might have even said it out loud. I am going to listen to you. I am going to listen and I'm going to let you guide my life. Because even though so my name is Zini, which is
Zini.
really Xeni, if you're
Yeah.
going to say it correctly
Yeah.
in the Greek pronunciation. It's a remnant of being baptized into the Orthodox Church, the Greek Orthodox Church, and not like my big fat Greek wedding Greek Orthodox Church, but like the traditional Byzantine, deeply traditional. Like, there's only 13 churches in that particular synod in this country,
Yeah.
and they're in communion with the really old churches of Bulgaria and Romania and some of the old Russian Orthodox churches. So,
Mhm.
it's very tradition based, very ritual based, lots and lots of prayers, lots of readings, lots of studying the Bible, lots of studying the lives of the saints. I was very in it to win it. I wanted to be the best Orthodox wife I could be. I did the prayers. I did the fasting, which was like 250 plus days a year
A fasting?
of no meat and no dairy on every Wednesday and Friday. And then, like, there's 47 days. Like, the Catholics only do 40, but the Orthodox do 47
Yeah, yeah,
days.
Catholics got 'em
Yeah,
made.
yeah, of no meat or dairy products and no olive oil for many of those days, because olive oil is such a rich thing for your palate that the Greeks, especially, want to wipe out olive oil because it's just you could live on olive oil,
Mhm.
and it's supposed to be a hardship. It's supposed to teach you, and it does, teaches you about giving up things, about sacrifice, about if hard times fall upon us, what will you do? How will you function? And we lots of people in this community, in this new enlightenment experience fasting, and everyone can recognize that your body does feel different, especially if you're any kind of athlete. I was a runner at the time. If I didn't have meat products, my body ran, sweated different. I could run much easier than if I take in a bunch of heavy meat products, and especially the dairy and all of that. So, it's a it does do something to you. So I was in this Orthodox faith, and I was doing all of the things, and I was repeating the mantras, and I was watching my hand paint and recognizing there was something else inside me, and then heard Eckhart Tolle talk about the now.
Mm.
And I was like, "Wait a minute. Is this a real thing?" So I had an opportunity to go on a vacation without my extended family, without my family, with friends,
Mhm.
and, practiced being in the now on this vacation, which is easier. It's great to practice on vacation living in the now
Yeah,
because you don't have all of the triggers that happen when you're living
the
at
daily
home.
grind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're free of that. And so that ended up being a life altering experience, and I would ask the universe, "Give me a sign. Show me the signs that I'm on the right path," and they would magically appear. There was one party I attended where I was sitting with a woman, and she started to complain about a thing, and I started to commiserate with her, and then it just turned into all positive because I was recognizing living in the now and engaging this woman with my love shield on, and by the end of the party, their group of people had moved in closer to hear all that I was saying. This woman had slapped my leg at one time and said, "Zini, we need you as president." I was like, "What is going on? I'm in San Francisco surrounded by all of these cool people, and they're like clapping for me at the end. What is this going? What is
You're
this
in
life?"
flow.
Yes, I was. And I recognized that it was a real thing. And all the numerology, all the numbers, like, if you're looking for signs, you will see them. You know, if you're looking to ask the universe for affirmation, you'll find it. You'll
Yeah.
see it. You'll recognize
Can
it.
anybody just ask and look, or how does one do that?
I think you just have to be aware. Like, I had met someone who explained numerology to me right before I went on this trip. And I think the universe aligns you teachers along the way too. So I was just looking for the numbers. And every time I would fill the car up with gas, like, all of these numbers would show up, and I'd be like, "Wow." And yeah, you could be like, "Oh, that's just crazy talk." But the thing is, this whole universe is like a math problem.
Yeah.
Everything is math.
Well, math is language, and then if you go into some of it, math goes into, well, language, just like I said, like English, and then goes into psychology, and then goes into, and then it's a circle, and it just keeps going back and forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you get to choose. I mean, this is what I am choosing to base my reality on. I am
Mhm.
choosing to recognize the good in all that is, and I see that that allows my life to flow in good.
Mhm.
So, anyway, after this life changing, life altering vacation in San Francisco, I recognized that I could no longer be an advocate in the Orthodox Church. I
Mm.
could not stand up for the faith because I didn't believe it anymore. I recognized where man had inserted himself into Christianity in such a way that we had lost the essence of what we are. And I didn't feel as though the faith defined the ultimate Godhead in the way that made sense to me.
Right.
It didn't feel authentic. And I had been praying for years for truth. In all my prayers, so I I knew that if I went outside and I did a gardening project, that all of the problems that I was suffering inside would either disappear or I would think of the solutions to them while I was doing the work. And so I would do the mantra of the prayer while I'm pounding in brick. Like I was able in that moment, the Orthodox Church gave me the prescription that I needed to get out of my head because that's what a mantra does. It
Mhm.
keeps you from being in that cycle of thought where
Mhm.
you're always thinking, you're always like
Going.
complaining.
Yeah, just going, I'm thinking of, like, in today's world with phones and everything, everybody's just go, 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 go.
Right,
Never just calming down, relaxing, breathing, saying a mantra to get your head out of that zone.
right. Yeah. And so I would connect with the earth in a meaningful way by moving it and creating gardens. And I would say the mantras and I would recognize in in the Orthodox faith when I was having a thought that could be fueled to be considered a sin. And there's a lot of thoughts that you could have. You could be thinking about um, some guy you saw that maybe you'd like to like get with or
Yeah,
whatever, like
yeah,
that would be a sin in that
right.
you would have to entertain that thought in order for it to be considered a sin. And when
Mhm.
your mind goes back to a repetition of a thing that would be outside of what the church would deem normal, then you would have to confess it. So, in the process of being an Orthodox Christian, I recognized how not to entertain a thought so that I didn't have to confess it.
Mhm.
And that's mind control. And I was using the mind control within the parameters of the church, but I was able to then take it and use it to live in the now because that's what the now is how to redirect your mind to live in the present moment
Mhm.
so that you're not repeating imaginary scenarios of a future that doesn't exist or living in a space of ultimate regret over a history that you can't change anymore. So I learned through the Orthodox faith. So, yes, I believe you can get to enlightenment through Christianity, but I believe you have to step through a door that no longer defines your faith in the way that the church claims God is. I believe that God is broader and bigger and more complex than what the Christian church defines for us.
Mhm.
So it was once I was able to step out of that, my entire life aligned in a way that it's absolutely been mind blowing.
Yeah, I just keep hearing, like, well, and that's his book, Eckhart Tolle, is The Power of Now is the book for anybody that wants a great read, just everything Xene was explaining. That is the book, and you are just living the book.
I am.
And,
And it's magic.
yeah, and I keep hearing just power, again, and with the church or the Christianity is it's limiting, it's not limitless, it's limiting.
Well, you can't save yourself.
Yeah.
You need to be saved through. And you have to hope that the God that you're the God will find you worthy because you're born into sin, which is absurd. When a baby is born, they are perfect.
Perfect.
They are perfect. When you look in the eyes of a toddler, you see the perfection. That's why they're so mesmerizing
Mm,
because they have the purity of God within. They haven't been conditioned to
mhm.
have the stain of sin upon them yet, which
Yeah.
is to cause suffering. babies don't wanna cause suffering.
Yeah,
They're coming into this and they're experiencing suffering. They're hungry, they're cold, they're too hot, they're
yeah,
too whatever, too wet,
yeah.
whatever, all the things.
All the things.
Yeah. But but in their purest state, they are perfection. I mean, this water vessel that we get to carry around, the infinite source of God, is perfection. I
Yeah.
mean, it is such an awesome piece of technology. It's just amazing.
You said it, technology.
Yep.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
The
getting
ultimate
yes.
organic
Yeah,
technology.
and going into technology even that, with technology has limits. Religion has limits. Government has limits.
Yeah.
What do we have when you step out of that and go into the power of the now? You become limitless. You become creator. Everything you were just saying. Who is Xene?
Yeah.
She is creator.
Amen.
Yeah,
Yeah. I am.
I am.
I am.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. And then people are like, "Oh, who does she think? She thinks she's God?"
Yeah,
No, guys, I'm carrying around a speck of God just like you are, just like all of us are.
yeah.
I'm carrying around that speck of God, and I have a filter on that
Mhm.
is zany. The filter has been conditioned by this world to think that I'm not enough. I'm born into sin. Maybe God will accept me. You know, make sure you dress and look like this. Make sure you don't behave in a way that steps outside the norm. And I'm here to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's a little harsh, but I think that ultimately you should do what it is that doesn't cause suffering.
Mhm.
Try not to cause suffering because I do believe that that is the one sin we should avoid is to not cause suffering in others.
Man, and how many people, how many humans daily, and you say suffering in others, but I'm thinking about just suffering in yourself. You're
Yes.
the I mean, most of us are our own worst critic.
Mhm.
Where I'm not pretty enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, and we keep telling ourselves, and you just again, you're being limited, you're not being limitless.
Based on a storyline that's given to you by humanity, not by a reality, because you've got a perfect water vessel. You're given a perfect water vessel. Then our parents take us to church or to whatever it is, to we go to school and we somehow learn that we aren't perfect anymore. And we start to judge ourselves based on some storyline that has no basis in reality except that some teenagers made it up in a lot of cases, like
Mhm.
especially if you're going through junior high and you're getting all beat up over it. And look at how we're abusing our poor children by throwing them into this system that is so harsh. It's, you know,
It is. I mean, I think about it even with my kids. We talked about that before the show started, was community living and then schooling systems and just systems in general. And I mean, they are starting to get ruffled. I mean, even look at our government right now has been shut down and stuff's getting ruffled and stuff's coming to surface. So it's the beginning process of it though. Like there needs to be some chaos for walls and systems to crash and come down. Not saying school is gonna come down right this second, but going into what you're saying, the kids being bullying, being controlled on every little thing, there's a time where our human species needs to evolve and grow and recognize the power we have and check our own self and not just be the follower or wait for somebody else to do that certain task that you don't want done. They need to be the one like today's the day I'm going to do it,
yeah.
and today's the day that we're going to change.
And it's a whole mindset change.
Mhm.
It's a whole way of redirecting your mind to being able to hear the voice of the ultimate all knowing inside. So each time you go to the mirror and you complain about yourself in the mirror,
Mhm.
I hate my nose, I don't like my eyes, oh my gosh, my eyebrows aren't as thick, or uh, whatever thought is coming to your head. I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I wish this was different or I wish I wasn't this way. That's a vibrational alignment that you are creating in the thoughts in your head on repeat,
Mhm.
often, that need to stop immediately. Because
Mhm.
if you don't love you, who will?
Mhm.
Right?
That's right.
Because you need to love you first and foremost. And that's the vibrational frequency that is God, that is the I am.
Mhm.
Unlimited love towards you.
Mhm.
You've got this water vessel and you just need to make it work the best you can.
Yeah.
It just needs to be, you are in charge of it. You need to feed it healthy things. You need to keep the toxic thoughts out of it. You need to really recognize what matters in the world and focus on your loving thoughts towards those that you do not like. Because if you got a neighbor who just drives you insane and they're always parking on your side of this or that, or they park over the driveway or the sidewalk and and they're just horrible human beings for whatever reason.
He picked my dandelion, gosh dang it.
Oh, man. She's trying to encroach upon my this or that. Well, the thing is, you're creating a vibrational frequency in that moment of complaint on repeat about those people. And then you talk about it with others, and now they're creating, uh, based on your origination of that. If they
Mhm.
start telling, oh, yeah, well, Wilma doesn't like that this guy's really bothering her and that, and so then that becomes the talk at coffee and then it becomes another talk. Well, this is gossip. We need to stop that right now. We need to stop saying negative things about our neighbors. Love your
Mhm.
neighbor as yourself, you guys. Like,
Mhm.
I love that I don't fit within the Christian framework, but yet everything that's in the Bible is actual real. And if you live by that, you're going to have a better life. But we don't. Instead, we go to church and we complain about our neighbor.
Mhm.
And we complain about the people at church because so and so doesn't pull their weight, or could you believe that they wore this to church? Or
Or if you go to church, your sins are washed away. I honestly used to think that when I was a teenage boy. I mean, I would go, I'd party and get in some trouble, and oh, but I'm going to church 3 times this week. So I should be saved and I'll be good. What are you doing? You're not going to church.
yeah,
And there is that. I mean, I thought it. I know how many other people out there probably think the same thing by
yeah,
just going that you're instantly being saved or, you
yeah.
know.
But you're not doing any internal work. You're not actually watching the thoughts in your head. And that's how you find the voice of God. That's how you become Christ like, which is the goal of the church.
Yeah.
And that's the whole framework that I say needs to be shifted. We aren't thinking, we are so in the system and so programmed by what the framework of the Catholic Church, the
Mhm.
Orthodox Church, the basis of Christianity has shown us that we've missed the mystical side of it.
Yeah.
And the mystical side is where the truth is holding. That's the holdout, you guys. There's a whole dynamic of Christianity that we are washing away. And like these Christian nationalists, they're just picking and choosing the stuff that they want to believe. It is not Christianity. I know the foundations of Christianity, and I can tell you that I get bashed a lot for being anti-Christian. I am not anti-Christian.
Mhm.
If it's working for you and you show me that you are really that that life is working for you and ultimately you are filled with joy and love all the time because of your faith, good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. But
Keep
I can
doing what
tell you
works,
that the
yeah.
people who are on the antidepressants
Mhm.
and who are taking the medications for all the high blood pressure and their stress level is off the charts and they have the shortest fuses I've ever seen in my entire life, your your Christianity's not working for you
Mhm.
if that's how you're living your life. And if you're
Mhm.
filled with stress and anxiety and all the worries and the woes of the world just feel too much for you to do, your Christianity's not working for you. So, I'm not anti-Christian in any
Yeah.
form, but I get called that a lot and it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, well, because they see you as intimidating, you're different because you're powerful. I mean, I can feel you right now and how powerful you are, and it what we don't know we're scared of, so
I understand that. I
it is.
understand, and it does require a different way of thinking
It
about the
does.
reality,
Yeah.
and I can tell you that having lived this way for 6 years now,
Mhm.
because I did literally step into the now and decided I am not gonna stand against my authentic self. I am going to listen to this voice, and I decided that that's how I was gonna live my life.
Yeah, you weren't told.
No. No one coerced me. I was led to the things that I needed to figure out, and, like, my brain was on fire. I was starving for green things, like, I
Mhm.
couldn't eat enough green things. I felt like my brain was expanding
Yeah.
during the process, and I
Mhm.
think a lot of people go through that. I couldn't eat meat products anymore. I certainly
Mhm.
couldn't eat anything processed meat. Like,
Mhm.
no, I
Yeah.
studied bacon for a while when I
Yeah.
was in the Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
I can't even stomach the thought of eating bacon
Yeah.
anymore. Like, if
Mhm.
it's got bacon in it, somebody will be like, "Well, I did put a little bacon in there." I'm like, "No, I'm sorry, I can't eat that." Like, I can feel the energy that's
Right.
in the food that I'm eating
Mhm.
because I'm sensitive to it now, because I'm looking for it, because I understand what it does to my internal functioning.
Yeah.
I know how it makes my brain work. I
Yeah.
understand these things. They're all connected. You need to be a healthy vessel in order to
Mhm.
hear the voice of God within. And He speaks. He isn't a he, it's a they.
Yeah.
The energy, it's an
Mhm.
energy.
Source, yeah.
Yeah. And there is no judgment from a God that
Mhm.
sits on a throne. And I couldn't possibly embrace that concept when I didn't believe it anymore.
Mhm.
So I guess you
Yeah.
asked who I am, but that's really,
No, I
you
it's
know,
been
it's
beautiful where it's been going and stuff, and I was thinking when you were saying, like, the food and the lifestyle, and I'm trying to, like, package this into, one little package here, like, how does one get on this journey? And I'm thinking that just recognizing and being mindful of what you're doing at the current moment is, I guess, the first stepping block is where at least I feel just being present. Yes, the food. I mean, you can go into so many details and depth to help out you and being creator and being in the power of now. But just I'm trying like, what are your thoughts on that? What would be for listeners that are listening right now, like, God, I really like what she's saying, but what's the first step? How do I do that?
I think you need to watch over your thoughts.
Yeah.
You need to recognize, what are you ruminating about, and recognize that that creates an energy. So ultimately, I believe that we are a bubble.
Mhm.
We think we are this experience, but we're a bubble of water,
Mhm.
because this is a water vessel
Mhm.
that functions better when you take in clean water, because then all of the junk and the waste is being cleansed.
Mhm.
So it only makes sense that this entire world ultimately is connected by the very water vessels that are inside us, but in the air. And all of this is run by the water, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Mhm.
I see us as organized in a three-dimensional sacred geometrical pattern. I am a bubble of water. I vibrate at a color within that pattern that is synchronistic to the frequency in which I keep my thoughts in
Mhm.
my head. So if I do not allow those thoughts to go into the denser thoughts of shame and fear and all of that society loves to program us into, loves to feed us on repeat so that our patterns are dense.
Mhm.
If I am able to keep that at the highest level within that sacred geometrical pattern, then I'm going to be surrounded by people who are like that in my life. And I'm going to not really come into contact with the density of the world very often. So the first thing that you need to do is watch the thoughts that are in your head. Then you need to figure out and watch, what what do you do in your life that causes you to pummel into the density? How do you get to the density? What is it, the thing that brings you down? Avoid that thing. If it's that you have to go to your mother's house every Wednesday night to help her do this thing or whatever it is, well, you have to work through that. Put your love shield on. Make sure that you're not allowing them to bring you into a denser pattern. And that way your whole overall stays up at a higher level. I don't really like to call it higher or lower than another thought pattern, but there is definitely a vibrational frequency that you are responsible for. You are the creator of the thought in your head. And maybe a thought pops in because there are two parts of us. There is the ego, there is the pain body, as Eckhart would speak of it. There is the storyline that has been imposed upon you, your ancestral trauma, which doesn't mean that your parents were exceptionally bad in any way, but they've been living for generations.
Yeah, their great grandpas and to the eighth grandpa, and eventually
Yes,
somebody needs to step up and say enough's enough.
in a storyline that has been imposed upon us to think a certain way. And I believe that it's been on purpose and has been guided to continue to keep humanity not able to function and controlled. I
Mhm.
believe that the whole storyline of telling you that you are sinful has been put upon us to keep us small
Yes,
so that the masses
limited.
don't recognize that we hold the power. We are the ultimate power. People don't understand this. So
God, I love when you say that. We are the ultimate power. It just sounds,
we have the ability to do anything, and now we're more connected than ever. So the technology would allow us to make huge changes very quickly. You know, we all talk about AI being conscious. The people who are programming AI are not conscious.
right.
They are living in the storyline. Definitely have an agenda. And I say
Mhm.
that those of us who are seeking higher consciousness, who see a way for humanity to elevate itself, we could use AI to really make that happen.
Oh, for
And right
sure.
now is why we are seeing so many of us reincarnating on this mission in our lives because of such a pivotal point in history that AI is available to us to make the change.
To make it easier. I mean, AI, I remember when I first heard it, I was like scared of it. This was because I was not quite on my path yet. Or I was on my path, but I wasn't. And it was intimidating because I thought, well, this is going to take my job away. This is going to take this away. This is, what are humans going to do with themselves? There's going to be no jobs. How are we going to pay our house? How are we going to pay our taxes? How are we going to do this? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. I was living in that fear. But as I go on, and I've told many people this, like, well, you're not going to have a job. You're not going to this. And I'm like, exactly. Like, but what is all of these with AI? It's taking and allowing ourself more time, us humans, more time to do stuff with ourself that truly matters. Like, for example, this podcast. Editing a podcast could take me an hour or two to do that. Or I could hit a couple buttons with AI and boom, it's done within 10 minutes. And I got 30 shorts and reels and all this stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
see how much time that saved me? Now
Yeah.
I can go enjoy doing this and I can enjoy, having a conversation again with another person.
And
And
you're using it to elevate consciousness. So
yes,
it can be used for the good.
yes.
And I do believe that those who are seeking to elevate their consciousness will be guided to do a job or to create a thing
Mhm,
that will bring them income and will allow them to sustain the wave of the destruction that probably does have to happen.
mhm.
And the quicker that we recognize that we do need to make change
Yeah.
and that we do have the power, the less traumatic it's going to be for everyone involved. But it's going to be the people who are stuck in the density, in the complaint, in the inability to change, to have flexible thought, the ones who blame everyone else for the things that are happening to them that are going to have the hardest time.
Yeah.
And there is going to be suffering. But we also have to recognize that a lot of that suffering is being brought upon themselves because they refuse to listen to the fact that there is a guiding force.
Mhm,
So I call it the human frequency.
mhm.
So The ants know what to do because they're on the ant frequency. A bear knows how to be a bear because he's on the bear frequency,
Mhm.
right? The hummingbirds know how to be hummingbirds because they're on the hummingbird frequency. Humans have a frequency, the
Mhm.
human frequency.
Mhm.
And if you tune into it and put aside the storyline that's been overlaid, the fear based, you can hear the love of God speak to you. And it's not necessarily a voice that comes in and says, Zini, you need to do this thing. You know, it's like a flash. You see the flash. You see, as I'm walking across the street with those two little girls, I see the flash of the pain in their heart, and I know that I have to do a thing. And it says, turn around. And I listen to it and I turn around and I tell them they're beautiful. It's just, it's the simplest thing to not be in the way of the thing that's going to crash into you, but to step aside because the voice said, just walk over here. It's there. And if you listen for it, you will hear it. And if you wrap your heart in love, you'll hear it even louder.
I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here.
Okay.
So, how does one muster up the courage then? I know we were going over like steps here and how to get into the now and how to unlock this divine power and, to be a creator. How does one, I guess, do that? Like for example, your story about the girls, like you're just putting on a love bubble and well, what if I don't want to put on the love bubble? And then I keep walking, like how does one tap into that?
So why didn't you want to put on the love bubble?
Yeah.
Because you didn't want to confront.
Mhm. The
And
fear.
it's fear. After you live in the present moment long enough and you watch for the thoughts, you recognize the feeling of fear within and you banish that from your existence because
Mhm.
that's not who I am. I am.
Yeah. It's a
And
lifestyle.
it's a
Yeah.
way of you're courageous because you've seen it work so many times that it never fails you. The stuff that comes out of your mouth is always gold.
Mm.
And you recognize it because you trust it because it happens all the time. And so you become more courageous by practicing. And you have to practice. And you have to do something more than just live in the now, probably. You probably need meditation
Mhm.
because your mind has been reeling. I was doing the mantras, I was doing the prayer.
You were already
I was,
meditating and not really were you realizing that you were meditating?
no,
Yeah,
I
you were just
didn't.
doing it,
I
but
was
didn't even
just
know you were
doing,
doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it had been prescribed to me.
Mhm.
It had been something I learned from a book in the Orthodox Church. And so I was doing the things that would train the mind. We have to do the things that train the mind, which is why I believe so much in the art.
Yeah, so going back a little bit, we were in kind of living in the now consciousness. You were talking about creating and art and how passionate you are with art. Why is that?
Because that's how I found that there was something else inside of me. There was something beyond the story that I had been told. It wasn't just Xene Abraham. It was Xene Abraham and God
Mm.
and source, light, love, intuition, whatever the heck you want to call it. It's something that I can feel and hear, and I know that I'm not making it up because it's way smarter than me and guides me in everything I do to perfection. And
Mhm.
so I believe also prior to all of this, I had been approached the summer, the end of the summer of 2017. I was at a fundraiser where another woman was there and she needed someone to bring art projects to the elderly in nursing homes. She had a home health care service above and beyond out of Monticello and had been a classmate, or we graduated from Monticello together. Um, and she had asked if I could do art therapy. And I said, well, I can't do therapy, but I can do art with people.
Mhm.
But it won't be therapy. And she said, "Well, that's fine." And because I said, "Any project is therapy. Any art is therapy." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Well, let's just do that." So she started out by funding 13 different nursing homes that I was going to, and then but in order to do that, I needed to have an LLC in place and
A business.
create my own insurance to be a contractor for her. And so I s- had help with getting the LLC created, and I called it Pix Fizz because I was just it's like bubbles popping. I don't know, like pixie bubbles
Yeah,
popping,
fizz.
Pix Fizz. And so that's what I was doing, and I was contracting, and I was doing 13 different nursing homes to start with, and then people outside of that system heard about me, and so by the end, I was doing 22 different nursing homes right up until the pandemic, and I started a nonprofit called Ageless Art on January 2nd of 2020, which had the intent of bringing more art to the elderly because it makes such a huge difference in their life. The difference of night and day almost. So you have these women who maybe they've been rolled up in their wheelchair and they're all slumped and their life vitality has been drained from them in this system where Wheel of Fortune is going on in the background on repeat. And they bring them to the table and we make so I was really good at creating projects that, maybe would be even better if you had a tremor because some of them can't hold, they've had strokes. Like one lady had had a stroke, her whole right side was numb, and she was
Bell's palsy. Yeah.
yeah, and she was only able to use her left hand to do art, and she's, 80. So, you need to create a project that is foolproof, and I was really good at those. And so I could see the difference that art would make. And this was even prior to me having the awakening. I knew that there was a power there that really made a difference in the happiness of the people. These people don't know each other's names when they come to the table, even though they live in the same house, basically. But at the end, they'll say to each other across the table, "Oh, look at what Mary Beth made." They remember better. They're more in the present moment because we did art together. And so it has been a real passion of mine, and the energy that I would get from doing that with them was really magical. It really was. And I feel as though all of that energy created, I saw it as like a bank account. So if I'm creating positive energy in my mind, that's going to the bank account of a positive future. If I'm creating negative energy, that's going to cycle back and create negative energy in my future.
Karma.
So I think of it as plus ones and negative ones and zeros. So, just be neutral if you can. That's a zero net outcome. So in the future version of yourself, you're creating all of these ones. But if you're also creating good in the world, all of the people who you helped create the good for are also putting a positive one into your bank account. And every memory that they use in their present moment to remember the good that you made is creating a positive one in your bank account and their bank account because it's really the emotional feelings that you have inside that matter. It doesn't matter what the thought is, it's the fact that you're having the feeling of the positivity, and that's the fuel for your future, the feeling of that. So you are creating this feeling with all of these people who, in their normal everyday, are in a -3 state. And now they're having plus ones, and you're sharing this all together, and you're creating a memory maybe with their daughter who sat in on the session, which happened quite a bit. And you're all of those memories together are creating the bank account of your future. So feel as though sharing the art with people is a great way to create a memory, to create a thought pattern, to create a positive future. So all of this has been something I've been super passionate about. But in 2023, I had this nonprofit that I had created. And the problem was that the pandemic had completely wiped out my ability to
Yeah.
do art with the elderly.
Right, can't go in anymore.
And it had shifted my life into a manner that now staying home and working in my own home space was bringing me in a passive income because we were now a hip campsite. So
What
I
is hip camp?
so hip camp is like Airbnb, but for cool places to camp. So Anamosa, Iowa, Neverland Barnyard is where I live, and it is like living in a fairy tale. And I think like The Hobbit meets a fairy tale or Bigfoot meets the Hobbit. I'm not sure. It's something.
It's a different reality. It
It is.
is. It's very for some people, I feel like that would be like, "Whoa." But when I remember rolling up to your place, I was like, "Ah." And I was just like, I could spend an entire weekend here and not see everything I need to see
I
because
live
it
there.
is very large and it's very just a lot going on, a lot of different things. It's actually it's a beautiful sight to see, but a hip camp you were saying.
Hip camp. It was no longer necessary for me to travel to 22 different nursing homes. And because the pandemic had required us to stay home, I needed to sell my fuel efficient vehicle to buy a truck so that I could do some serious landscaping. Because as I said, in my previous life, I had a lot of landscaping experience and I knew that we needed patio. And in order for life to go forward, I also needed a wood fired pizza oven. Which is like my other passion. So I love doing art with people, but I also love to feed people wood fired pizza.
She is an amazing cook, I do have to say.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. All from the garden. I love processing the food now to create sauces and different things that I'm going to put on pizza in the summer, and this is what I eat all season long. So it's another dynamic of how you become a better version of yourself is become self-sufficient. I don't need to live in fear because I'm taking care of my needs in a way that it makes sense to me.
Yeah, with your food, you know you have food. You don't need to go to Walmart every 3 days to get your food. You don't need to go to the McDonald's, every day to get your food. You have your food at home
Yes,
that came from
grown
the
on my
earth.
land.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of studies that show that the food that you grow on your land that's connected to you, that you tend to yourself, is more nourishing to your particular body. And if you think about it, you have a seed. It's a baby little seed, and you put it in the ground, and every bit of you that puts a love shield towards the water that you use to water that plant is creating it's a design in that water. You've seen the where they freeze the water. You've done
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I
You've
did,
done the
yeah.
frozen water thing.
Mhm.
That's a
Memory.
that yeah, that's an energy that you're putting into the water that is feeding the plant, that the plant is now made of water, that you are creating the love towards the plant. And then you go into the garden and I talk to my plants. I'm one of these people. I'm like, "Oh, you guys are doing so good. I love you so much. Wait until you're chilly."
Yeah, yeah, wait until you're chilly.
Yeah, oh,
Not the cold type.
no.
Yeah, the hot, spicy
Yeah,
kind.
yeah, you're gonna love being soup at the barnyard, and I think they do because
Yeah,
the food tastes so good, because
yeah.
I'm injecting it with love from the moment that it's grown in my space, in my land. That's real, man. That
Mhm.
like and then I have beautiful intuition towards cooking, so my brain will say, "Ooh, remember that jar of this that's almost gone? You could, like, add water and spice that up with this thing, like, just throw
Yeah,
this in." Nothing goes to waste.
yeah.
I'm so good at, like I can repurpose a leftover into some you didn't even like, "This has that in it?"
Yeah,
and make it, like, mind-blowing. It was good before, but now it's even better.
right. The power of just sticking your attention and intention into something, what happens from it? I've used
Right.
this space, for example, during many podcasts and just when people come in, they're like, "Whoa, I kind of feel like high when I come in here." And I'm like, "Yeah, You should. It's got a high frequency in here, and I put
Yeah.
so much love and even, like, the rocks, like, people don't know this well, now they know because 'cause I'm gonna be saying it. Uh, in between the studs of the walls, like, when I was building this, I put crystals and rocks and we're saying prayers to them and put them then into the
Aw,
studs and then put insulation behind it and then put the barn wood on, so
I
it's
love that.
got just this power around everything in this space, and it's like you're just saying with the gardening, you're putting that
Yeah.
seed in, you're putting that intention in it, you're loving it, you're holding it, caressing it,
Yeah.
whatever, and then guess what? Now it's time we get to reap that and get to really just put it back into ourselves, so the circle of life, and just noticing how powerful and recharging you become again.
So then on top of it all, when I'm canning,
Mhm.
I'm not bitching in my head, "Oh, I got a can, I got a
Yeah, I
can, I
got
got a
30
can."
more cans to go.
Yeah, gee,
Yeah.
I'm never and this dishes and the dishes.
Mhm.
This is my joy that I get to
Mhm.
process this food that I put so much intention into.
Yeah.
I don't wanna wreck it now
Mhm.
with complaint in my head.
Right.
I wanna add more love to it. So I think about the feeling of what it's going to be like when we eat it, and who can I share this moment with? Who's gonna eat this in my future? Who do I get to break bread with in my future and share that love with? Like that's going into I don't just grow it from the seed and create it and then process it, but I'm also adding the love to it throughout the whole process.
Right.
Our food system is missing such an integral part of how we heal ourselves and how we live in a more sustainable, wholesome way. We just aren't grasping the depth of how we're supposed to live on this planet.
Well, there's a couple different things going on there that I'm just thinking about is many humans and how we've evolved, I guess if you want to call it evolution, is everything is at our fingertips. Amazon, the grocery store, the McDonald's, whatever. Everything is there. You can have food Ubered now to your house, you know?
DoorDash.
So you don't even know really what's coming in and people don't care because it's like even this, another example is the doctor. Just give me my pills, give me my Band-Aid so I can get out of here. "Oh, no, you need to quit this out of your diet. No more bacon, no more" well, screw that, can't you just give me a pill?
Yeah.
And that's what's going on is yes, what you're explaining and everything, it does take work, but when you use your mind and shift your mindset into a joy, then there is no complaining, there is no thinking this is a lot of work. Because I get in my beginning part of this, I was thinking, "God, this is a lot of work." I mean, even like the food, we've been gardening at our place now for
Oh, yeah.
15 years, and it is a lot of work,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, when you get to watch those plants grow
Yeah.
and it looks so beautiful,
Yeah.
and then when you get to eat it, and especially after you've
Oh.
fasted, when
Mhm.
you fast and you put a red pepper, like when I was at your place, you gave me a red, oh my God, these red peppers were so big too. And I had a
Oh,
bite
they're
of
so
just
good.
a sliver of red pepper and I hadn't ate for like 30 some hours. It was so nutritious, the flavors that were going on, the water coming out of the pepper when I was
Sweet
biting it.
and
Yeah,
just this super fleshy, thick,
yes. I
crunchy.
could instantly, like, imagine
Oh,
all the water going into all my veins, all into my cells,
right.
everything. It was just like it was life force energy from one little pepper,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
And
I've had celery that tastes
yes,
like that. I'm
yeah.
like, "This is what celery is supposed to taste like? No way."
Versus like kids, like, here's a piece of celery. Well, where's my peanut butter? Where's my caramel? Where's my this? We need to enhance this all the
Which only
time.
makes sense
Yeah.
because it's been grown in a lab probably, or I mean, that's basically what those hydroponic things are. It's just a big lab. And when the plant it's less nutritious when it has everything given to it exactly on schedule. It doesn't have to have any it doesn't have to have the thrive to grow. It
Mhm.
does grow
Right.
because it's got everything it needs, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have the tenacity of overcoming the obstacles. So if you think about it, like one of my favorite things is stinging nettles. I put it by the heapful in my soups
Mhm.
because heating it actually helps it release a lot of the great stuff that's in it, the anti-inflammatories and stuff, but also it's got protein.
Mhm.
So it's not enough just to, like, make it into tea. I wanna eat it as
Mhm.
well. So I put it into all my potato soups and a lot of my broths
Stinging
and
nettles? Yeah.
stinging nettles. So, the whiter ones, I guess, are a little more nutritious, but I have the smaller ones, and I keep them trimmed back, and so I'm harvesting them all season long. And if they get away from us, we just chop them off
Mhm.
and they will grow back. It is damn near impossible to get them out of the yard. They are
Really?
so tenacious. They will grow no matter what. They're the first things that come up in the spring. So spring potato and nettle soup is
Mhm.
a big favorite of ours, and that's we harvest that for tea. The
Mhm.
most is the early spring stuff
Mhm.
because it's the most potent because it's been dormant over winter. But even the root is good for, like, prostate health and all kinds of stuff. So it's really the whole plant is good for you. The seeds are good for other things. It's an amazing life nourishing plant. If any kind of apocalyptic thing was to happen and stinging nettles were still available, the whole world would do fine.
Mhm.
It, like, provides trace minerals. I mean, it's an amazing plant.
Yeah, I
And
think
nobody even knows that we can eat it, and it doesn't have, like, any kind of off-putting flavor. It's not even as strong as parsley. It it's just nice. If you
Mhm.
add it to anything, it adds savoriness to it, in
Mhm.
my opinion. So, I'm not sure how I got onto that topic, but
Well, we
it's
were talking about food and how nutrition it is for your body and the health
oh,
benefits. I
yeah.
mean, because we're all circling back here, with being in the now, and then now where I feel like we're working on details of how to live, in that present moment all the time, and the food and nurturing us and the nutrition of it, and then even your artwork going into. I want to go back into the artwork,
Yeah, we need to get there.
but going into your artwork, how I always loved art. I mean, and I think of myself as an artist too, but in my younger days, I never really, I guess, was paying attention to what it was doing to me and even what it does to people. I never really thought of it like that. How you explained it earlier with the nursing home is a prime example. And I'm just even thinking of the nursing home right now. Many elders have Parkinson's or dementia or Alzheimer's, and I'm in the brain health industry too, where why do you think that happens? I mean, I believe because their mind, they start slowing down and they're not pushing their mind as much. They're not creative because they're just getting shoved this, and maybe it's I don't know, I'm not 90 yet, but maybe that's just how it goes, and you get to that age, you just don't give a shit anymore or whatever it is. But when you come into that nursing home now, and we go from just, watching Spin the Wheel or whatever, Wheel of Fortune, and you put this piece of art in front of me and it instantly sparks my day and you got a smile on, what is happening to that elderly person's mind? It's just firing now, kinda like me eating that pepper, just firing, and it's just unloading all of that dopamine and stuff and spark that's going on in them, and now maybe I mean, think about that, if we could do stuff like that in our nursing homes, consistently, not just once a month or once every 2 months, think about what kinda lifestyle, you would look forward to something growing old. Because I think a lot of us, when we get old, we think of, like, "Oh, great, I retired and, then I lost my love of my life, and now I can hardly take care of myself. I guess the final option is to go to the nursing home." And now what? I just should go here and die, I guess. Instead of like, oh, I get to go to the nursing home now. I get to play with some friends. I get to do this, play some cards, play some poker, smoke a cigar, have some fun. Instead of like, oh, here I go dying again. What's happening? I mean, it's all that mindset, what you
Okay.
can do with the art.
Right. So that was the whole reason that I started the
Yeah.
nonprofit because I saw that we were really failing our elders in a
Mhm.
huge way. But if you think about it, it starts well before that age. We are listening to the music that we liked when we were in our prime on repeat. We don't expand our minds anymore. We get into a, a set cycle. We do watch our Wheel of Fortune. We do watch this particular show. We do make sure that we're in bed by this time of night or day. And yes, having a set bedtime is probably a good idea. But the thing is, we're not expanding our experiences.
Yeah.
Those of us, or those, the elders that create something, who seek to continue to learn and expand, stay away from the mental illness a
Mhm.
lot longer than those who are in a repetitive pattern of sitting at the bar drinking, getting their food deep fried and given to them with the worst kind of possible oils in it and on it.
You
And the
run a
salt
vehicle on 'em.
content is out of this world, and your cells in your body are suffering a terrible thing when you're toxifying your body in all the ways that sitting at a bar and watching the game and bitching about politics and all of the things are doing to you. It's deteriorating your body. It's deteriorating, and science will prove it to you, right?
Think about how many people do though. I mean,
It
really, especially in our area, think about how many people actually do that.
This is why there is such a high mental strain on our elderly in nursing homes. Every single person probably in this area knows someone who is in a nursing home way too early in their life because they had a drinking problem. It does deteriorate your brain. It does make you more susceptible to cancers. It does. Probably is not the cause of the cancer,
Mhm.
but it is not helping your body fight it off.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and the density of our living environment here
Mhm.
is part of it, and we need to wake up to it right now.
Yes.
Right now, we need to start taking care of ourselves. This is what I'm advocating for
Mm.
all the way around. And I see how art fits into that because it allows you to start using your mind in a more flexible way. And science proves that when you create, you have more creative problem solving abilities, which carries over into the rest of your life. So you become a better version of yourself all the way around. So this peace project, now we can finally get to the whole heart of this. We've made it!
The Peace Project.
Project Create Peace came to me in 2023 when I was having to do the paperwork for the nonprofit. And I was like, what am I going to be doing with this? I either I need an idea. So I said to the universe, use me as a tool. I'd
Mhm.
like to be a tool. I also love to talk about God, life, and creation, and I don't want to in any way not be my authentic self in what I have to do.
Mhm.
And prior to this, I was doing some wine glass painting in bars. That is not authentic to me. I can't be doing that, but I do love to instruct and I love to create with people. So I asked the universe, bring me something. Use me as a tool, or I'm going to dissolve this ageless art because I'm not going to do paperwork for no reason.
Mhm.
It's not a lot of paperwork, but I don't want to do any if I don't have to for a thing that isn't going to serve me anymore. So it was just within, I don't know, a week of my ultimatum to the universe, do something with me or else,
Mhm.
that I saw this video in Spanish about a guy who spoke about the existing peace symbol. So the existing peace symbol is an upside down tree of life with a circle around it. That symbol in Europe has been used on tombstones to represent the day someone died. Because when the tree of life is upside down, it's not expansive and growing, it's done. It's not going to be growing anymore. It's death. When you put a circle around anything, it means never ending. So the existing peace symbol means never ending death, could mean never ending death.
Mhm.
That's not inspiring at all.
Mhm.
Nothing about it is inspiring. No one sits down and goes, oh, this symbol really made me feel better when I painted it. It
Mhm.
doesn't, because I think it's inherently not one of expansion and growth.
Right.
So I
Control.
so that's what I learned in this video in Spanish. which is linked on my website somewhere. I'm
Mhm.
sure you can find it. I think it's on there, and if it's not, I'll make sure it is.
Yeah.
Um, I saw this guy talk about the symbol, and then he spoke about Billy Meyer. And I knew Billy Meyer because my partner Bob is into aliens and extraterrestrials. And my mind has always been, I don't know because I haven't experienced it. How do I know? But it might be true for some people. I think we all kind of live in our own dimension. If we truly are a bubble of water, your dimension might include aliens and mine simply doesn't at this point. But I know. I'm not
Mhm.
going to judge it as being ridiculous because I really liked the symbol that these aliens told Billy Meyer was an ancient Earth symbol. So, but I didn't really care for Billy's image very much.
Right, it was not as
It's
appealing to the eye as yours.
it's a vector
Mhm.
image. It's
Yeah,
just created with
yeah.
some straight colors and straight lines, and
Right.
it's just a thing.
Yep.
But I loved what it represented.
Mhm.
And I had given the universe this ultimatum, and then the universe had also, in that very moment, provided me with some frames that were just the right size to work in my very limited winter space. And so I thought, well, I'm going to paint one of those.
Mhm.
Symbols have always been kind of fascinating to me anyway. I think they're pretty cool. And so this was right up my alley. And as I was painting it, it was again like my brain was on fire. I needed like greens to eat. I was in it, and I could feel this is what everyone needs to do. Everyone needs to create their own peace. Everyone needs to experience this kind of creativity. And what I was doing was I was evolving the symbol and creating it as my own, but I was also thinking about what each of the elements within the symbol represent.
Mhm.
So hopefully you can put that up here on the screen or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I will.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have a link on it so you can see exactly and put it on the show notes, so,
perfect.
yeah.
So that's ground, earth, or mass.
Mhm.
There's the fountain of life, there's the tree of life, and there's the lotus, and then Fibonacci spirals on each side. That's where I kind of deviated from Billy Myers because I couldn't figure out what his two circles meant. But the Fibonacci spiral has been something of interest and
Yeah.
just a real I love the golden ratio of it all
Mhm.
and trying to keep, a symbol in my opinion, this symbol is symmetrical. And so thought on both sides represents both creation and duality and the
Mhm.
expansion. We're supposed to continue to expand. The very life force within us wants to continue to expand and learn and grow all the time.
Mhm.
So I love that symbolism. As I've created it over and over and over and over again, probably 100 times or more by now, only in the last 2 years, um, I think about it every time I create it. So my fountain that comes off of the mass happens to have 4 different flows, which represent the 4 elements.
Mhm.
But someone's doesn't anyone else can create the fountain however they wanna see it.
Mhm.
That's how you make it your own. You take the elements that you're into, that which you hold dear, and you contemplate those while you're creating. This is about intention setting. It's about learning about yourself. It's about thinking deeper about something in life beyond your favorite football team.
Mhm.
It's about it's about exploring something new and something beautiful. I mean, the fountain of life can be a very beautiful tree thing. The tree of life
Mhm.
has so much potential to be depicted in such beautiful ways. And a lotus represents different colors, can represent a different emotional output, aspiration, whatever meaning you might want to add to it. You can look up the different colors of the lotus and think about how that design takes shape. But the ground is not just a box.
Mhm.
It's the concept that God, source, light, love, whatever you want to call it, had to think itself into existence. And like we believe, had to think itself, how do I experience myself?
Yeah, like manifesting,
But
putting it to work and actually
you're
building
a
it.
spirit
Yeah,
and you have to think about
yeah.
tangible things. I think I will make tables and chair. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously man has made the tables and chairs, but I think that I will make this human who's going to embody me, and I'm going to forget who I am so that I can go through this experience blinded to see how this water vessel learns how to control itself to total acceptance so that it can hear me within, like, so I can guide it to its ultimate path.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
Thankfully, humanity does not need to make a jump quite that big.
Right.
We just need to make a jump to the fact that we are actually that God
Mhm.
and we can make change and we can rule ourselves in a very meaningful way because now we have the tools available to us that
Mhm.
could make that happen. And when we realize that and wake up to that reality is when we really have something to be proud of. And so I am looking to use this peace symbol as a representation of that ideology,
Mhm.
that thought process, that new earth that we want to create on this planet in this space and time right now, worldwide, because all of humanity can learn to rule itself in this way. And we will recognize that we are actually all one, the all knowing within. And it is only the very thinnest veil of this water vessel that's holding me together that is keeping me from not being you.
Yeah, I mean, when you really get into it and just feeling your energy right now, I can't help but notice just the reflection, of what that gets kinda trippy too, where it's like, "Am I you and you are me? And here we are," and I'm, like, trying to wrap my head in, like, "Yeah, yeah." How
Project Create Peace,
Project Create
because
Peace.
that was the hashtag that was the most available. And I
Mhm.
wanted to make sure that we had a very clear hashtag. So Project Create Peace.
Gotcha.
And it's a mission.
Where do you find out more about this
So I
project?
have a website,
Mhm.
projectcreatepeace.com.
Okay.
Hashtag Project Create Peace will bring me up on almost every social. I'm not very good on, I'm not, I'm not interested in the social media atmosphere. And
Mm.
so I have a very limited attention span to give it. And I am currently seeking those that might want to participate more
Mhm.
and lead a social media
Yeah.
blitz,
Right.
or just anyone that's watching that might want to talk about it and, hashtag us away and create your own piece. Hashtag
Mhm.
Project Create Peace so that we see you out there
Mhm.
and we can create a revolution because I honestly believe that the more of us that participate in the creation of this symbol in the manner in which it is intended,
Mhm.
we are creating a symbol. And while we do the art, you imagine a more peaceful future. You imagine joy and love in the hearts of all mankind. You imagine clean water. Imagine these things and the feeling that we have already made it and we're already on that path. We're already doing it and we're the pioneers of this project.
Mhm.
We're setting it off and when we see it take light across the world, we will be so proud that we were one of the first
Mhm.
that saw the potential in using art to change the world. Because what we're doing there is that I've created a symbol now that you can see. And when you also recognize the intention that goes into the symbol, you smile and
Mhm.
your memories and your knowing and all of that is a bank account into
Mhm.
our positive future.
Right.
And so we are together creating that energy because you've spent hours of your time. This doesn't need to be a fast thing. You don't need to be rushing your piece. This
Mhm.
isn't let's go to the bar and make it in an hour and a
Yeah,
half.
10-minute little quick thing. Yeah,
This
take
is
your time.
let's set with this in meditation because I recognize that this is a therapy that not only helps me, but it's going to help the world. And that energy is then infused into the artwork that everyone can see. This is how we change the world with art. And now we have a symbol that represents that which we want to bring forward that we can show to everyone. We can put it on our clothing. We can create it into cards. We can send it to people. We can make this everywhere with our own hands. But the trick is that you aren't just outsourcing it to some company in China and they're printing it on everything and now it's coming back to us wrapped in plastics and across the ocean. This was made with intention, with our own hands, and we supported artists in the effort, and we purchased art from the artists who created that energy while they created it to help move the world towards a positive way. This is another way that we support this mission is by commissioning artists to create it. This isn't my symbol. I keep telling there somebody said, "Oh, it's got your symbol on it." I was like, "It's not my symbol. I made that version of it, and it's
Right.
got the peace symbol on it, the
Mhm.
new peace symbol, but it's not my symbol. This is an ancient earth symbol. We all get to use it. And the only trick in creating it is that your viewer knows that it's peace so that their heart leaps into that space to create that outcome that we're looking for. It's an energetic deposit into the bank account of our future.
I like the project create piece instead of even just like the peace symbol. Even I don't know, maybe you're just calling it the new peace symbol. But I like it being project create peace symbol. I mean, because it's you're creating peace. It's not again like you said, we're going to China and just start mass producing, this symbol.
Yeah.
It's you're creating peace, you know?
Right.
So
And isn't it a pushback against AI?
mhm. It is.
It's
Yeah.
a rebellion against
Mm,
that which can be mass produced
mhm.
over what humanity can make.
Yeah.
Like let's spend the time and recognize the therapy that is art
Mm,
and create a thing that's meaningful and change the world with it because when you have it and I have it and you start seeing it everywhere, you're like, "Oh my god, there's so many of us."
yeah.
'Cause out here in this space where we live particularly, it can feel like there's no one else.
Yeah.
We're completely alone. And the truth of the matter is there's tons of us out here. There's tons of us. We haven't all connected yet, but there's tons of us. And if we're here, how many people are there out in the other spaces? There's so many of us that
Mhm.
if we can just come together and create something that unifies us,
Mhm.
even if it's just the art. That's where we start really solving the problems that we've got. And the more of us that are doing the art, we're having better solutions to our problems,
Yeah.
which means we're going to get to it quicker.
Right.
So all of this is like one massive worldwide effort that we just are barely lifting off the ground.
Mm,
And yet I'm seeing my momentum with it and I know that it's gonna hit. It's
mhm.
gonna be massive, and it might just be this very podcast.
You never
You
know.
don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
That's amazing, Zini. I mean, today, this story, just everything and who you are. I mean, I know all of our listeners listening to this, myself included. I've had some emotions. I've had some laughs. I've gotten riled up. It's just been an amazing day with you. And we talked about where to find you, the Project Create Peace. Um,
I
do
do
you,
have a YouTube channel too, and
okay.
so this should if especially if you like the idea of putting peace on your clothing,
Mhm,
you should follow my YouTube channel because that's what I'm gonna do all winter long. I have beautiful clothing that I no longer wear,
mhm,
and I'm going to be putting peace on practically everything.
mhm,
And some of that will be for sale, and so I'm thinking, but I also wanna wear it.
mhm.
I it's on my shirt.
Oh, yeah.
It's on my shirt. Um, but I'm going to be doing lots of different styles of embroidery and applique, and I don't really know what I'm doing, so it'll be fun to learn as I
Or
go.
artwork.
Yeah. YouTube
So
will get
that's
you
the
through
future,
anything.
yeah, where you see yourself with this? That's what I was
This
going into the next question.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself at
Yeah.
here?
So this winter, I believe that it's the people who do the applique and who do the embroidery who would be more open to putting it on their clothing. Some of them are selling the things that they create. Yay. Put this out there so that then people have a talking point.
Mhm,
Wear peace on your clothing so that we start to recognize each other,
mhm,
so that it becomes our warrior outfit. We
mhm,
recognize that we believe in a better future. We
mhm.
just believe in getting along and that humanity is capable of overcoming this and ruling ourselves in a more just and humane and sustainable way, one with the planet. And I'm here to say it can be done because I'm doing it. And the whole rat race to the 9 to 5 is not what it has to be. There can be something else. And maybe that whole rat race thing can be its own thing of itself. And the people who don't want to do the rat race can help support that in a more sustainable way.
For
So
sure.
everyone should still be able to have the thing that they want to do, but find more fulfillment in it. Because the way that we're being manipulated to hate each other is only so that more people can make money off of us,
Mhm.
so that we can keep supporting a health management system that isn't about healthcare at all. So that's where I'm going with this is a worldwide effort to show people a different way of living on the planet
For sure.
and how to find peace within. That's where I'm going. It's a big mission.
Zini, thank you for coming on. It was a honor.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And remember, hit the like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions or anything, don't hesitate, reach out to us.